Look at this stuff. Look at these cubes. This is Scott Zucker right here. Say hi.
Hello, everybody.
Scott's an amazing guy. He's one of my mentors. And I'm David Smith with Fazler's Paradise, by the way. I usually don't forget to mention that. But these are the X cubes that he cuts.
Those aren't X cubes. Those are acrylic glass. Those are different.
Different, but similar. And this one's about 3 inch, and I'd say this one's about 5 inches. And he also cuts all these stones. And then you may remember him first of all from he presented his polishing talk twice at the United States Fasteners Guild Symposium last week, and it was well attended both times. Some people attended twice because he gets so scientific that people had to like, what?
It's easy.
No, it was relatable. No, I agree. It's not. I've been to some presentations that just, but it was really cool to hear about like what's happening on the surface of the stone. You know, why is one is mechanical, one's a chemical reaction. Just a fantastic presentation, and we really appreciate it.
Good.
Scott also cut how many different diamond replicas?
42 replicas. And you can
42.
see all my diamond research on my website, museumdiamonds.com.
He took like all the major historical diamonds, their dimensions, and their cut, and then he recut them in what material?
Cubic zirconia.
CZ. And he had that either last year or the year before. He had them here.
Yes.
It's an amazing collection, and I think he was on Discovery Channel, right?
Both Discovery and National Geographic.
And National Geographic. Next week he's going to be on that Did You Marry a Prisoner?
Yeah, there you go.
No, he's a great guy. Ex-military, served in our armed forces honorably, and he sells Ultratech machines every chance he gets. He's a bulldog. But you know, all of us here at the booth, we're at the Gem and Mineral Show, the Tucson Gem and Mineral Show here. We love selling an American-made machine that is absolutely internationally recognized as the best machine made.
That it is.
It's just, I mean, we're proud. And so if you get a chance to come visit Scott, or if you get a chance to talk to him, if he shows up next year, you're totally getting busted there. So he and his wife, this is his wife Karen, they double team hard. They are on it like a bonnet. So Scott, I'm going to ask you a few questions. What's the most challenging stone you've ever cut? What type of stone? Not the cut, but what material was the most challenging you've ever cut?
Sulfur.
Sulfur. He loves to brag about his sulfur. I tell you, this guy gets sulfur, as you can imagine, is incredibly soft. And does it stink when you cut it?
It doesn't stink when I cut it. I don't use water at any part of the process.
Do you
And
oil?
that's usually what causes it. Causes the aroma.
Oh.
Plus that combined, if you're using an electro-bonded lap, like your standard gray lap, the nickel in that reacts with the sulfur. I have a chemistry degree, so we can geek out on this.
Right.
But the combination of water and the nickel and the sulfur can really make it stink. When I'm cutting the sulfur, I do it on a wax lap with oil, and my wife has a nose of a bloodhound. So if it stunk, I would really hear about it. So as a result, she doesn't have any objection to it. I have no sense of smell, so I have no clue whether it stinks or not.
Because he's a guy.
Because
He's a guy.
I'm a guy, But no, it does not stink.
And then what's the most complex faceting diagram or cut that you've done?
That would either be the replica of the Kohinoor diamond, the historical version, or the Orloff. And you can see a picture of the Orloff diamond. It's still in the Russian crown jewels and Catherine the Great's great scepter. The historical Kohinoor was recut in 1851 into its modern form, and the modern form is in the British crown jewels.
So what I'm hearing, Scott, is basically if you're a jewel thief and you need that replica
I'm your man.
to real quick put in there and snag the real one out, or if you're a museum and you want to have a replica and keep your real one safe, Scott Zucker is your man.
And you can see replicas of the Kohinoor, both the modern and historic. They're on permanent exhibit at the Natural History Museum in London. And there's some other replicas in Paris and Washington, D.C., and Mumbai and Dubai and all over.
And Scott's house. And then what do you got over here?
This is a concave machine. I don't know if you want others to expound on this one.
Well, Tom
but this
talked
is-
about it, but have you cut on this yet?
Yeah, I do a fair amount of cutting on this. I have my own style, just like any other cutter, and I really like the concave because it gives you a whole different palette to work with as a cutter. And the one thing I really like about the concave is that when I'm cutting a high-end stone, like say a high-end tourmaline crystal, I can routinely get yields of between 60 and 70%, as opposed to the standard 30% with the flat faceting. And if you're cutting something that you can sell for $500 a carat, and you save 3 carats, it gets significant.
So now that was intriguing. So you're saying that you didn't even flat facet it at all, and you only fantasy cut it?
You flat any stone that's been that's been fantasy cut is generally flat faceted first. I do it to the 1200 grit level, then you put it on the fantasy machine, and you convert your flats into your concave facets.
Now, how would I just not understanding how that would increase your yield?
It's because you don't have to play with the angles quite so much.
Oh.
That's
Okay,
the
so
big-
you're cutting the flat facets in a way that normally wouldn't optimize the light so much because you're going to use the concave cutting to accomplish the same task.
That's right.
Oh,
And the other advantage of concave cutting is that for really light colored materials, it can darken the color by about 2 shades. So that increases its dollar per carat value.
So you see why all these guys here are my mentor. Like just even in this little conversation, I'm like, what? You learn so much. So thank you so much, Scott Suker. Fantastic.
My pleasure.
Great stuff. If you get a chance to see his stuff, do it. Museumdiamonds.com?
Yes, sir.
Museumdiamonds.com. Check it out.